Well, unfortunately, it happens to all of us. Cast iron is not exactly a maintenance free piece of cookware, but lately I let my skillet get a little out of hand, and today I'm going to fix that and I'll bring y'all with me. While I'm at it, I'm also going to add a little extra protection to this one. It's not in bad shape, but I already have everything out, so why not? I'm going to start out by getting myself a nice work area. This is not entirely necessary, but I feel guilty for letting my beloved cast iron get out of prime, so I hope that a little extra detail here counts as my penance. This craft paper will also kind of make for a nice easy cleanup, so that's neat. I'm going to bring my skillets over, and I'm going to need plenty of paper towels, and I'm going to use olive oil today. The other thing I'm going to need is the oven, preheated to 450 degrees. And this process starts out with a good old soapy soak followed by a scrubbing, so let's head over to the sink. First thing I'm going to do is fill the basin part of the skillets with hot water and some regular old Dawn dish soap. Now, if you've been trained to not use soap on your cast iron, don't worry. I am literally about to re-season them. Like, this is the 11th hour for this current seasoning, or lack thereof. So, I'm going to let these soak for about half an hour and let any food residue or failed seasoning become easier to remove. And then, after a half an hour, with a nylon brush, I'm going to scrub everything real thoroughly. This will do just fine on the skillet that is not too bad off, but the one that is in rough shape, I'm going to use one of these sponges that has a more abrasive side on it, and hopefully that'll bust through all that rust. After a thorough scrubbing, we head back over to the stove, and the skillets need dried. So start out by drying with a cloth or a rag, and then on medium heat, let the skillets come to temperature for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Cast iron is a porous material, so simply hand drying is not enough. Do not skip this step. It is actually crucial to a long-lasting seasoning. Now, if you have some stubborn rust, kind of like my big one does, you can hit it with some steel wool. Just be sure to go back to the sink and wash it real good again afterwards. And if you are dealing with some cast iron that is an advanced stage of neglect, or maybe you picked it out of the trash, or who knows, maybe your nephew house sat for you and ran it through the dishwasher, you can up the ante and use sandpaper. Anyway, once the cast iron is clean and dry, it is time to lightly coat the entire surface with some oil. I have picked olive oil, but you can use any kind of oil. Now, I'm talking plant-based here, folks. Leave that 10W30 in the garage. It is important, however, to understand how this works when choosing your oil. This process is using heat to kick off a reaction of the oil, which carbonizes it into a protective layer. You cannot achieve that at temperatures below the oil's flash point. You will need about 25 degrees above the oil you use flash point. Now, I know my oven is historically cooler than it is set to, and olive oil has a flash point of 325 to 375 degrees, so I'm seasoning my cast iron at 450 degrees just to be safe and ensure that I am getting that reaction. The trick to a good, long-lasting seasoning is a light coat or light coats of oil. Many people like to place their skillets in the oven upside down so oil doesn't pool up at the bottom. Now let me tell you, if this is even a possibility for you, you are using too much oil. Go lighter. If you want to feel like your cast iron has a bulletproof seasoning, instead of using too much oil once, use the right amount of oil multiple times. I'm going to do this process 3 times today. Once all the surface areas are lightly coated, it is time to place them in a preheated oven. Make sure they are not touching anything and bake for 1 hour. At the end of 1 hour, just go ahead and turn the oven off and leave them in there with the door closed to cool completely. Now, there is nothing wrong with doing this only once, but like I said, today I'm going to repeat the baking process 3 times. And I do know there are people out there who pride themselves in doing even more so than that. So you do you here. Anyway, after 3 coats, check out how beautiful these are. I'm considering myself done. One of the things you can do to make this last longer is just be sure to do the best you can in maintaining them. After a cook, clean them as immediately as you can. Gently scrape off anything stuck on the bottom away. Wipe clear with a paper towel and preferably while still warm, coat with a light application of oil. If you are storing it for a long period of time, substitute the oil for a food-grade mineral spirit. Thank you so much for watching. Go get that cast iron all cleaned up and pretty, and make sure to comment below what your favorite cast iron piece is. Y'all, until next time, be well.